Hello ladies and gentlemen. Today we'll be analyzing my forehand and seeing how it has changed within the past year and a half or so, where I've gone from being a little baby 3-0 to now a full-grown baby 4-0. So let's get right into it. Alright, so first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at a forehand that I hit in 2022 and what that looks like. Then we're going to see a forehand that I hit a couple days ago, and then we're going to see them side by side and try to compare and see what has changed exactly in my forehand. All right, so let's go back and take a look at the side-by-side view. And we're going to try to notice all the differences. And again, I'm not a coach, so I might miss a lot of things, but I'm trying to pick out kind of like the main themes and trying to pick out like what has made a difference in my forehand. So let's take a look. First, we see the take back. And honestly, they look pretty similar. I think here it's a little lower. I used to take it back higher, but I think this is it's a little more compact nowadays. And the next thing I've noticed is just kind of like this stance, and you'll see here. Let's play through, and what you can notice is that nowadays, I'm a lot more dynamic. So in the old one, you can see I'm a lot more upright, whereas this one, I'm already kind of like in a more athletic position, like my knees bent. And look at that step forward. So like, I take a much more aggressive kind of like step for the ball. So like not just wait for the ball to come to me, but I'm a little better at trying to meet it. And the other thing that helps, in my opinion, is I want you to see my body momentum and just kind of like my body weight and try to see what the difference is. And I think it's pretty clear if you look at this. And I think like right here is kind of like, let's go over again. If you look over here, as the ball is coming, I'm hitting the ball, and look at my right foot. Look at my right foot here. They're basically identical positions right now, left foot, right foot as well. But look what happens here in the new forehand. I step through and I land a little parallel to kind of my left foot. And just kind of like my shoulders as well. It's more of a full turn. Whereas if you look in my old forehand, I hit it and my foot stays back. It just doesn't go anywhere. It kind of takes the tiniest of steps forward. And if you look at my shoulder, it's just, again, parallel to the baseline. And if you just look at like my body posture here, in this old one, I hit it and I'm almost like falling backwards. Like if you look at this, it's like I have this like diagonal line, like backwards. It's almost like I'm a little shy. And whereas now, you can see I'm like hitting a little more through it. I'm like hitting more through and stepping. And honestly, I think that has made a huge difference when it comes to the depth of the ball, but not only that, but the quality. Like I've had people tell me that it's a lot harder to deal with the same forehand, but if you just make sure you put your weight forward through it, just a little bit like this. It doesn't have to be an exaggerated, like take a huge step forward. Sometimes you don't have the time to do that, but even when you're in the defensive, you can try to put your body behind it And I've heard a lot of people say that, and I've been trying to do it, and now I see that difference. Is I put my body more behind it. You can see this one's a lot more solid, whereas this one, I'm like falling backwards. My body never really goes forward. It's already, as soon as I hit it, it looks like I'm hitting backwards, right? So, so those were some of the changes that I noticed. Let's play it back, full speed again, side by side so you can see it. And the forehand is a huge part of my game, right? I think it's probably a huge part for most people, and it is mine as well. And I feel like I've won a lot more points because of my forehand. And even as the level has increased, my forehand has been able to keep up, and it's still my weapon. So, looking back, can I say, oh, guys, just apply these changes and you're going to go from 3-0 to 4-0, or, 3-5 to 4-0, 4-0 to 4-5? And I don't think that's really the case, because one of the other things that I used to do a lot was kind of like breaking things down like this in analysis and video, and kind of looking at myself and then looking at videos of pros. And you can find a lot of videos online where you see kind of like the pros warming up and they have immaculate form. And I used to try to emulate that every time. But the thing is, in a match, you're most likely not going to be hitting that perfect, comfortable shot. Like, you don't, when you're warming up and stuff, you're just kind of hitting down the middle. You know where it's coming, and you have all this time, and you can try to hit at that point, like try to do that perfect shot that you've always wanted and like pictured in your head. But in a match, the opponent's job is literally to not give you the shot you want, right? You're always going to be scrambling. You're always going to be hitting like weird shots, like wide angle shots or short shots, especially like in lower levels. Like, people, I remember in 3-0, 3-5, like, people don't have the consistency to give you the same perfect ball that you can always hit the same way. No, people are going to shank, people are going to miss hit, people are going to get jammed, and so they're going to hit small, like short balls, they're going to hit lobs, they're going to hit these like unexpected weird shots, and you have to be ready to hit all of them. So yes, my forehand, my kind of like neutral baseline forehand has improved, but I honestly think that where my forehand has improved the most is in these weird shots. The ones that, like, you're not in the right position. You're not set up correctly. You're not ready for those. And I think that's where I've gotten a lot more points compared to before, compared to a year ago. And I think that has made a huge, huge, huge difference with my consistency.
Guys, I just lent some money to Boris Becker for his newest tennis idea to create an AI serve bot, and I don't think I'm going to be seeing that money back anytime soon. So if you could please like and subscribe, that would be really helpful so that one day I can recoup some of that money. I would really appreciate that. Thank you.
So to show you what I mean, I'm going to play a couple points from 2022 and show you kind of like the balls that I used to miss. And I took notice, and I've made sure to practice during practice. So not only just hitting, neutral balls or like just kind of down like in the middle and things like that, but trying to make sure that you put in the reps in the shots that you have trouble hitting. So for me, it was the low shots and the lobs and the high balls. Like, I didn't know what to do for those, and it's still something that I'm working on. And also the short shots as well. So here, let's see. And look at that. That's why they say points, the majority of points like end sooner than 4 balls, right? Or 3 shots. So you really want to make sure that you can get this ball in where it kind of like I'm not that ready, and it's kind of a lower ball, and I'm kind of on the like not a stretch, but like I'm a little on the run, and I believe in this scenario, which is something I do often, is I try to go for too much, and look what happens. I shank it, goes way out. The other one is the one I mentioned, the lob. So look at that. So before this, I did everything that I wanted. So like I feel like this happened to me a lot, and it might happen to you a lot. Is you do all the work, and you get them in a defensive position. Like they had to hit this bailout lob, and now you're technically on the attack, right? You should be aggressive here, and that's what I decided to do because I wasn't sure what to do, and I hadn't practiced that shot. Next one we see, that short one. You see? Again, you set up the point, you do everything you want, you do everything right, and you do the point construction, and you get that short ball that you want. So in this case, it's a slice, and yeah, it hits the net, but you should still be able to get this. It gives you even more time. And here, obviously, the shot you want to go for maybe here is like a cross court forehand short shot, but it's just awkward. I jam myself, shank it, goes out. So how frustrating is that? So that's where I put most of my effort into getting better. And during practices, like I literally drilled where even if it was a ball machine, I would make it hit short balls and just hit all of those, like the short balls, the lobs, the high balls, and even the wide shots. I think that has been huge for my game. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at some points that are played recently. So a couple weeks ago with my friend John, who is a stronger player than I am. He's a solid 4-5, whereas I think I'm still like kind of in the bottom of 4-0. So usually if we play like a proper set with serves, he absolutely destroys me, as much as I hate to say that. He basically taught me how to play tennis, so he just kind of knows my game better than I do, and he's just better. So but in this day, we just kind of did like you feed it first in neutral, and then you play. And yeah, I want to show you kind of like some of the balls that I hit that I've improved on, and you'll see I'll still make mistakes, and they might look similar, they might look familiar, but again, that's the stuff that I have to keep working on. All right, so our first point again, that one is, I think that's where my forehands has improved, like the neutral. So in this scenario, I did have the chance to kind of hit um, like the forehand that you practice a lot when you just hit down the middle, right? Because of the nature of this drill, you kind of, it's feed it and then it's right back. So you just know it's going to come back there. You're ready for it, and you kind of, it's a little bit of a advantage, right? So here I'm able to kind of hit that wide forehand, get him on the defensive. And here, my backhand is a weakness. So we'll get to that in a different video. But here I don't want to mess it up. So I hit a slice, which ends up being pretty good. And is deep enough to force that backhand error. All right, so this point kind of showcases something I've improved on, and also something that I still need to work on. Right, so let's go back to that point. So this forehand is kind of like a deep high forehand that I choose to kind of like run around a little bit. And this is something that I think is a shot that isn't like standard, right? I had to kind of run around. I'm a little late to it, so I'm a little off balance. And here, I think for me, the issue I had was that it was kind of like a mentality thing where I felt that every time I ran around my forehand, my backhand, that forehand I had to hit it huge or something like, and I usually would go too big. And something that I've gotten better at is that you try to run around it. It wasn't the right decision in this time, really, but I know that, and like I don't try to hit like a winner to the backhand corner. Instead, I try my best and just kind of hit with a high margin and just kind of get it in deep. I shank it a little, but it happens to work out. So now he hits kind of like a defensive forehand that lands short, and if I had a great backhand, I might attack this, but I try my best. And then this one, again, like it's a little lower than like a rally ball. It's just it's I just hit a really high one, and now all of a sudden, kind of have to hit a little shorter one, but it's coming a little slow. So this is where I try to change direction, but when it's coming kind of low like that, and you're not set up properly, like balance wise, is that really the right time to go for a change of direction? Unless you're super good and comfortable with changing direction like that. If you are, then go for it. But that's really not my game. And so there, for me, I should have just gone cross court and waited for a better ball to either attack or change direction on. So that's something that you'll see me make that mistake again. That's something that I still kind of have to work on. Nice. So that's an example of a high slow ball and how I've improved at dealing with that, compared to what we saw previously where I just absolutely just skied it. Here, I've learned how to like flatten the ball a little bit and just kind of hit an aggressive ball because it's, higher than the net, right? So the ball is above the net, so I can kind of hit a little more either straight or not really down, but because I have that much more margin. So I've learned how to hit that shot, and I'm still not the best at hitting that shot, right? I can't just freaking Alcaraz slap it wherever I want. So right now, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to pick a big target, right? So I'm gonna add some pace. I'm gonna inject some pace, hit it a little flatter, but I'm just gonna choose a big target and have them kind of make another short ball or force an error like it happened in this scenario. So that has been also another big part of just kind of like my forehand game that has improved a ton, right? So again, like that was something that I learned was that when you're just talking about your forehand, it's not just a rally forehand, right? It's just how do you deal with the high forehand? How do you deal with the low forehand? How do you deal with the forehand on the run or like even the forehand slice? And like the defense in the forehand. That all encompasses the forehand. And when I learned that's that I had to work on all of those aspects, that's when like my game really has improved a ton. So poor backhand there, but two forehands I hit again were for my standard smart shots. Like I didn't try to change it down the line too early, like it happened like a point or two ago, because I felt like those were a little too low for me to try to like really change the direction down the line. Even though my tactic is to like attack his backhand, but those weren't the right ones to go on for me. So here, like even this feed, it's a little short. I'm not expecting it to be that short. It stays low, and I do a better job. Like that ball is similar to the one we saw earlier from 2022, where I just shank it and it goes way out. But now here, I do a slightly different technique as well to just kind of like brush it more and just keep it cross court and see like what happened. Like maybe he could have attacked it, but he just hits it back, which again is I believe the smarter choice. And he puts the ball back in my court, makes me decide what to do. And here again, this time the ball is a little higher, a little more in my comfort zone. So I add a little bit more pace, a little bit more spin. Um, but he's really good at changing the direction. Like that's one of his strengths. So he can do that in the range of balls he can do that in is a lot bigger than my balls. But here, I hit the backhand. It goes wide. It happens. Another example of how to deal with kind of like a slow high ball. As you can see, I hit a big target. I'm not aiming for the lines anywhere because that ball was slow, but it wasn't that short. Like if we're talking about a ball that landed near the surface, like before the surface line, and I'm up there, then yeah, I might try to like hit more angles. But from back here, I might try to go more cross, but I'm just trying to create a little bit more trouble. Just take on a little bit more risk, add a little pace because I'm comfortable with that, and trying to force a shorter ball that I can then attack. And here John was feeling a little lazy, goes for that quite an egregious forehand slice, I would say. It's just sometimes it works though, and it absolutely destroys me mentally. So, but this happens, you kind of try to force the arrow from the opponent. See, so that's what I was saying. That one, he injected a little more pace there, and I tried too early to try to change direction. That one, I probably should have just, hit across court and had him hit, another shot, and been a little more patient with it, but pull the trigger too early. So that again is something a shot that I hit well and a shot that I didn't hit that well, right? So that's the one I missed. So here, again, this ball comes short, comes low, and this in 2022, I would have tried to just kind of like rip, like really try to add a ton of racket at speed and just bang, like create a lot of topspin so it goes up and down, right? And I would have either hit it long or shanked it, or hit the net, honestly. Just nothing good. But what do I do now? So I hit it a little differently. You see that? It's like I do kind of like a little hop step, and I just bring that racket really high up, and it's just like, look at that brush. It's, wow. Yeah, like, it doesn't even cross my body because all I want to do with that ball is just get it back with some depth maybe, and some spin. I can't, like, I'm not good enough to be hitting like a crazy like top spin on that. I just want to get it back and see, like, he can, it's not causing him too much trouble, but at least I didn't lose the point right there, which would have happened in 2022. Instead, I lose the point there, right? So this is where I'm trying to come in with the forehand, but maybe this wasn't the right one to come in on. I just kind of was anticipating the cross court, and that's why I think I was brave to kind of go for it. But this scenario, I just kind of shank it. So not the worst, but definitely something to work on. So this point really kind of is an example of everything that I've been trying to talk to you about. It let's see, let's go back. So here, that one is a little high, right? It's a little high, it's a little deep. I'm a little off balance. So what do? Big margin. Um, it was right in the middle, so John gets to kind of attack that. Hits a very good shot that is, you know, it hits right basically on the line in that corner. And so I'm in the defense. And here in 2022, I don't know what I would have done. And whatever I did, it probably wouldn't have worked. But something that I've improved on is, again, the forehand kind of like squash shot. And that's what I do here, just defense, right? And I managed to hit a really good shot. So this was a little lucky, obviously. It hits like kind of like the line or even the back of the line. And he wasn't expecting that. And so this makes him hit another shot. And it's a shot that he can't really attack that well because it's got no pace. But he does a pretty good job at hitting a spinny kind of like deep shot cross court. I'm still scrambling, so that's like a smart shot to hit. And here, this again, I missed this shot, kind of a low forehand that's like close to me, like twice earlier in the match, right? But here, what do? I decided to go cross court, and it's an easier shot, so I don't miss it. And then now this one, right? So earlier I missed, approach shot. In 2022, I missed them all the time. But this is an area that I've gotten a lot better in as well. I've gotten a lot more comfortable with kind of like positioning and footwork and just kind of like maintaining that racket speed over it. So I end up hitting a pretty deep shot right there. A lot of margin, really, because like if the ball was a little higher, nowadays I would try to flatten it out, but it was a little low. It was a little out of balance, so I try to go for more margin. That's a good brush and force the error. So this is a great point. I didn't hit any winners, but it's just been the consistency. And it's not, I used to think consistency was getting the same ball over and over and over as many times as you could, like, right? Like just get a ball machine and just hit all of them 20 in a row or whatever. But consistency can also mean, like, can you consistently get the ball back, like all the balls, any ball, whether it's the defense ones or the short ones or slices or like lobs. Like, you want to be consistent in getting the ball back, and the more you can do that and also do it with a higher quality of ball, right? Like at 3-0 consistent, you could just like bump it back consistently, and that might work. But at 4-0, 4-5, the people can start punishing that. So you have to up the quality of your consistency as well, where you have to hit a little deeper. You can't just bump it back. Your defense has to get better as well. And you have to kind of try to get out of that defensive and turn it into kind of like an offensive moment. And that has been, again, huge for my game. So here, again, some good stuff, some not that great stuff. I think one thing to note is, this forehand, kind of low. Happy with that decision of, yes, I want to target his backhand, but again, this wasn't the right ball for me to go on, because that's the higher part of the net. It's low already. I could try adding spin, but if I miss, it could just bounce to like a perfect height for him to just kind of like hit a winner off of. And so honestly, here, I go aggressive, but through the middle across court and try to pull him wide. And then I rush the net. So here, I hit a good enough shot where he has to hit this forehand squash shot, right? So he's on the run, hits a forehand squash shot, gives me an absolute beauty of a sitter. Like, this is everything that you've dreamed of. This is a absolute perfect scenario. You know, you picture yourself match point in a grand slam, and you do this point, you get this, you look at your opponent is doing some sumo squat on the corner, ball is nice and slow, you just have to put it away. So obviously something I have to work on are the volleys. But anyways, I think that's it for the breakdown. I hope some of this information was helpful in your journey of becoming better. And yeah, let me know if you have any thoughts, if there's other things that I've missed that you want to talk about, or if you have any questions or things like that, please let me know in the comments, and I'm happy to, talk about it. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.